Welcome to the Gridiron Insight. I'm your host, D. Um, got a very special guest coming on today, but before we get into that, hit that like button and subscribe. For us, today's show is brought to you by Champ Pro Sports. Let our team build your team. And we're going to jump right into the business today with a good friend of mine, Markel Stevens Sr., the father of Markel Jr., running back at Madison Central. So let's get started. What's going on, Markel?
What's going on, Dent? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Man, I'm happy you can jump on with us, man, and talk a little recruiting, couple of things that you got going on with your son, and just talk about recruiting, the whole aspect, how you guys got started. When did you think, hey, look, I need to do a little something different with my son, man, and just give us a little background of yourself. You're a former college athlete yourself, so just give us a little background about yourself, and we'll get into what we want to talk about recruiting, because we both know we're around the same age range, and we want to talk about how different recruiting is now compared to when we were going to school and compared to just 3 years ago.
Oh man, well, I could just start off by saying, back when we were coming up, VHS was the thing as far as recruiting.
Oh man, people don't even know what that is.
Right, you cross your fingers and you hope somebody saw it.
Right.
And now with social media and all the changes being made in college sports in real time, right in front of our face, everybody's recruiting experience is really a tailor-made experience. Just dealing with other parents. Everybody has a certain story, a backdrop story to how they started and where they are now.
Correct.
So, when it all started for us, just bringing my son up. I'm a former athlete myself. Played at Alabama State. Moved over to Mississippi. Started my life with my family. When I was at Alabama State, when I was done playing, I worked in sports information for some years and did some radio over there. And I got a good insight to what goes on behind the scenes, athletic events around the country. Thankful enough to attend a couple of NCAA tournaments in Memphis with Alabama State, and just traveled to SWAC throughout. And now I have my own son, and I'm kind of old school.
Yeah, we both are. We both are.
You play all the sports now.
Right.
Nowadays kids train not just for a specific sport, but they train for a specific position.
Yeah. Well, let me before you get too far into that.
Okay.
At what time and did you look at your son and say, look, I got to do something different because the game is changing, the recruitment is changing, everything around this sport is changing. When did you say, look, son, we need to do something different. We need to start camping or get a trainer. When did you make that decision, that you guys want to go deep down, and besides just, junior high football and just doing what you was doing with the school?
I would say it started really around COVID. We were doing a lot of training. Michael and I was sneaking out the house. In other words, when everybody was on lockdown and we were training.
Right.
And my wife would say, "Where y'all going?" "Oh, we just going to the park." And we were able to go to a few gyms, a few high schools, and do some training. Montre Edwards.
Yes.
He did some training with Michael at this time. G-Force, Mike Espy, also Ladarius Webb. So these were just some of the trainers that Michael had trained with in this particular time in his young career. And during this time, Mantra introduced me to you as far as SBU.
Right. He was what, sixth or seventh grade that time?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And we were able to go to Florida for FBU camp at the Top Gun camp, and then eventually ended up playing with you for the FBU tournament. And that opened my eyes to the world and the business of football. And it
Yes.
really starts in middle school, opposed to some people think it's your 11th grade year. It starts earlier than that, especially with the way they're paying players and the recruiting and social media again.
Yeah. So right now, Markel is a sophomore.
Correct.
And he has how many offers does he have right now?
6 offers.
And give me the top 3. Give me the top 3 offers instead of going through all that. Give everybody out there the top 3 offers that your son have right now.
Ohio State, Georgia, Ole Miss, and I'll even Florida State,
Right.
Florida,
okay,
and Georgia State. That's all
just
6.
Picked up to Florida last week?
Yep, last week.
Just picked up to Florida last week. So what I wanted to, I had a parent text me, man, right before we got on the show, about doing some stuff for her son, as in just trying to just guide them in the right direction. You as a parent with a son that's a sophomore that already have 6 big time offers, five of them are P4 offers. What advice would you give to a parent that's in the 9th grade and he's trying to figure it out right now? What advice would you give them as camps for training? What would you say to them? What do you say they need to do right now?
I would say have realistic expectations of what type of student athlete that you have. And
that's
as
right.
Parents, that can be difficult. Even for myself, is difficult to assess your own child. However, you said the woman's son is in the 9th grade. The training, in particular, you have training at school, but also you got to do the extra work outside of school. Camps, there's a lot of camps going on, but if you're in high school, I would recommend the college camps during the summer. Unless you have maybe an Under Armour or Rivals camp. Those are good camps as well. And there's a few good mega camps you can attend. And these are places where you just can't be a parent and sit down in the stands. You got to get around, move about, introduce yourself to people, and do a lot of networking and create relationships.
Well, let's talk about the camp aspect. What some people don't realize about the camp aspect, there are several different type camps. There are camps that, you go to learn, your technique. You work on your technique. There are speed camps. There are showcases. There are combines. So there's different camps for different things. And a lot of time, parents get mixed up. They'll be like, well, we went to this camp, but we didn't get anything out of it. If you're a freshman or an 8th grader, you're going to get something out of it because, number one, your kid is going to learn how to camp. And that's something that people do not understand. Your child has to learn how to camp. It's just not you go to camp and everything is just, you follow some kind of instructions. That kid got to know, hey, look, I got to be out front. I got to do something different to catch this coach's eye or this trainer's eye. If you got 24/7 sports there, whether you got On3 there, whether you got Rivals there, your child have to do something to catch their eye. And that's something that I try to pound on when I talk to parents that, hey, look, go be different. You have to be different because they're looking for something different. They're not looking for the same thing. So when you go to these camp Rivals, when you go to Under Armour, or when you go to our camp, when you go to Southern Elite, and you got 50 college coaches there, you got to do something to stand out. And, like you say, you started training at an early age. And what would you say to a parent that say, you know what, I don't have the money to train. I mean, I don't have that kind of, of funds to train. What do you say to that, parent?
Well, you do know how to do push-ups. you
Yeah.
know, it's the basic stuff. Just at the school alone, you'll be amazed what you can get accomplished at your school.
Right.
You don't have to go get a gym membership or anything like that, but you have to become a student of the game. And you get with your coaches. Kids, you just got to work hard, so
Right.
to speak.
So would you say what you learn in school and what your coaches teach you at school, you're saying you need to come home and magnify that. You need to get out in the backyard, do some work on your own, and then you ought to be able to see your levels go up. You ought to be able to see your skill levels go up. There's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube. I seen a video the other day of a young lady out in the backyard with her son, and she had went to a couple of videos and found some very good material that for her son position. I think he was a defensive tackle, and man, she was out there. She had bought a dummy, and she was holding the dummy, and they was doing different things. So for the ones who say, okay, I don't have the money to do that, look, tell your child to go to his position coach. So, coach, I want to work on some extra things at home. Let him go work on those things and tell the coach, coach, if you give me 5 minutes after practice, I want you to show me some things that I could be working on.
Exactly.
Do those type things like that, and that will help you later on until you say, you know what, I'm going to save up enough to get a trainer. And if you just say, you know what, I got enough, I'm gonna try this trainer out for a week. Go and record. I'm giving you some tips. The trainers might not want to hear this, but go and record that trainer, and you go home and do the same thing.
Exactly.
You go home and do the same thing. So, there's no excuse for saying, we didn't have the resources to do, because there's so much information out there.
Exactly.
When it comes to camps, a lot of camps that you can sign up for, they don't cost that much. And if you're a young kid, going to the school camps, they're fine. They're fine. But you have to have a realistic insight on your kid's potential and your talent. So let me ask you this. When did you see, okay, I think Markel is a powerful guy? When did that click on to you guys doing the training and everything that you was doing? When did that come about in your mindset that you knew you had a child that could play at the highest level?
Well, he played baseball, he played basketball, football, and what I realized early on was his drive. He never wanted to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael was like never the best kid on any of his particular teams, but his drive to compete,
Yes,
and his work ethic set him apart. And as he matured, his work ethic created separation.
mm-hmm.
And that's when I started to realize, like, this kid may be serious. And it's those things where you get up, he's in the backyard, and I don't have to go tell him to do the work anymore.
Right.
Or he's eating differently, or he's going to bed early, and he's doing his own regiment. And he's starting to ask me. And it started around that 7th grade, 8th grade. It's almost like they're getting hair on their chest all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And he started competing, and that's when I saw the change, and I was like, okay, so this is where we are. And we were out at Under Armour, and he won, what is that, the golden ticket?
Yes.
To go out to be in a game. And he did, that was all him, but it's the work ethic,
Yeah.
and that's what I contributed. That is what it is. It's the work ethic.
So the training that he got as I guess 7th and 8th grade, you can say that projected him to become elite in his position. that helped
Absolutely.
him become. Yeah, that's what.
Absolutely.
And then you say you went to Top Gun. What grade was he in? The seventh or eighth grade?
Seventh grade.
So and see, let's talk about this. You hit on this at the first beginning of the show. Everybody's path is different. So as a sophomore, he already has some big time offers. But let's talk about. I mean, you've been around this game a long time. You've been around this recruiting thing. Let's talk about the ages kids need to start going to camps. And I would say if you're a ninth grader, you need to be camping that whole summer. That's my thing, camping that whole summer. As an eighth grader, I would say the camps you need to go to are camps that's gonna help build your skill. Whether it's any kind of camp that you can go to that will help you build your skill level and work on your position. I'm gonna throw this camp out here, not trying to give them a whole lot of publicity, but East Mississippi has a really good camp for young kids. And if you take your 7th and 8th grader to that camp, they learn a lot. They really do. They learn a lot. And once your kid go to these camps and they get the instructional training, then by the time they get to the 9th grade, then they're kind of ready to step into the showcase part of it.
Exactly.
And so I'll tell any parent out there, any young parent, if you got a middle school camp that you can take your child to, that your child can get better, whether he's a quarterback camp, whether he's an O-lineman, it's an O-lineman camp. Make sure you're taking your child and make sure your child is progressing forward. Because, you got the high school and you got the middle school. Now, middle school is so much different from high school because they don't have 40 minutes, maybe 50 minutes to actually see your kid. And if you're at a big a big middle school where they got 75, 80 kids, your child might not get the reps that he need in that 50 minutes. He might not get any reps.
Right.
So I advise you to take him to, a skill position camp and make sure, through that 7th and 8th grade that he's getting that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
That's what he's doing. So, I feel like, hey, look, if we can do this, we can kind of, start from there. I think that's the best place if you got a 7th and 8th grader right now is find you some really good position camps.
Absolutely.
Once you find those position camps, then guess what? You can go move on to the next level, which will be being in the 9th and 10th grade. Then you can start going to Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, wherever you want to go to, you can go to those camps, but have a realistic aspect of where your kid is. Because when you go to those camps and you're going to see, oh, my son is not, as Dion said, he ain't him. Maybe we need to numb it down until he reached that level. Not saying he's not going to reach that level, but maybe we need to go to a Louisiana Lafayette camp. Maybe we need to go to Alcorn State camp. Maybe we need to until we can build where we need to be. I see too many kids going to Alabama camp year after year after year, and they're not Alabama material.
Right.
And I hear parents, well, I took him to Alabama camp 4 times. I'm like, you did what? That's not doing your kid any good. And he's a junior, and he hasn't received anything from Alabama. He doesn't have any rankings or anything like that. So, and I don't know on the 27 ranking right now. Have they started ranking the 27 kids yet?
They are ranking them. Yep.
Oh, yeah, slowly. So Markel, I don't know if he gotten anything yet, or they're just still the jury's still out. I know 24/7 Sports normally ahead of everybody when it comes to ranking. I didn't know whether he had already been ranked or not.
Well, from my understanding, the transition we made from Georgia back home to Mississippi has slowed his rankings down, but from my understanding, on the next ranking, he will be in that next ranking.
Okay, we'll be in the next ranking class.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's great, man. Like I said, I appreciate you sharing you guys' journey right now. And you still got 2 more years. Well, you got 3 more years because you still got this year and 2 more. So he has a long way to go. And with 6 offers already, 4 of them being Power 5, man, the sky's the limit. And before we get out of here, man, just one last thing on let's talk to the Pee-wee parents. I'm gonna talk to the Pee-wee parents. I mean 5th and 6th grade, and they finna walk into this. What advice would you give them walking into junior high if they're really serious about helping their kid get to the next level?
Be persistent. And I tell people this: the best investment you can make is in your child. Correct. And we talk about the money part. People spend their money on what they want to spend their money on. But
Absolutely.
The best investment you can make is your child. Instead of buying those Jordans, go get some training. Because I see all the young kids with these shoes, they making a fashion statement. But if you're serious about your craft, start young, start early, get the reps, and it's a process.
It's definitely a process. And, in that process right now, we don't know where Mississippi is going with the high school kids, with the name, image, and likeness. We don't know what they're going with that just yet. But in a lot of states, kids are already making money off of it. I think Deuce Knight has a contract or something, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw something similar to that, a couple of weeks ago or something like that. So, there's a lot out here to gain from jumping on this thing early. Because, it's just like anything else in life. If you jump on it early, more than likely you're going to be ahead of the game at the end of the day. So, like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on. And like I said, we're going to have to bring you on here and we'll talk a little swag ball next time. Both being former members of the SWAC, which conference I love to death, of course, my son is playing at Oklahoma and Markel will be playing at a Power 4 school. But, the game has changed a lot since then. Everybody wants the best for their child. And like I said, that's why we bring you these shows, to give parents a little bit more insight than what they're hearing, every day from somebody else. I want them to hear from people who's in it. Not just take my word. I want you to hear from someone who already has a child who's being recruited. And that's why we do what we do. But like I said, once again, man, I appreciate you. Until next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.